appears that it was an American munition that struck, the UAE oil facility, not an Iranian drone attack, as people, as the UAE likes to say. It was an intramural firefight between the United States and United Arab Emirates. Iran hasn't taken credit for that attack. They said we didn't do it; it was the Americans that did it. That attack took at the same place at the same time that the United States sunk two civilian ships. So I just can't see the United States going through this panicked period and suddenly bravely sailing through the Strait of Hormuz. But who knows?
Okay.
Strange.
Something important you just mentioned now was about Fajera. And I did read the statement of the Iranian foreign minister, and there was actually two ways to read it. And I'm glad you're kind of highlighting maybe the other perspective, because I kind of read it a bit different. And one was he was basically saying, it sounded like he was saying, as you said, that many people thought this was the United States of America hitting Fujairah oil refinery, industrial center. And the other claim, or the other way of reading it, was that actually this was a response, because the United States of America was warned, if you attempt to do what you're trying to do on the Strait of Hormuz, the target will be this. And because you did this, now we've done this. So there was two ways of reading this. So you think it's definitely the former, and if you can elaborate on why you believe it to be the case.
First of all, I don't definitely think anything because I'm not there. Back when I was an intelligence officer, I had access to sources of information that were hard. I could put eyes on target and confirm things. Today, I'm an analyst sitting thousands of miles removed from the problem, relying upon data coming through sources that are untested, unknown, unverifiable. So I don't know anything. I'm just saying that past precedent does guide current assessments, and the United States has a history of lying. The Iranian government less so. That doesn't mean that the Iranian government can't be, wrong in things they've been saying. We know that there appears to be some sort of disconnect sometimes between the IRGC and the civilian leadership. We also know that because Iran has made the decision to, the word I'm looking for escapes me, but basically you delegate, there's the word I was going to use, you delegate decision making to 31 independent military districts, that these military districts are capable of operating on their own. They have authority to do so, and sometimes they act without full coordination with the Iranian government because they're still in a time of war. So there's the potential for disconnect within the Iranian messaging apparatus. We don't know. I just don't trust anything Pete Hegseth says about anything.
So yesterday, though, there was around 8 waves of attacks towards the UAE, hitting a number of different locations. We saw one today as well, or one or two today. So, I mean, what was the reason why Iran targeted the UAE?
Well, again, have the Iranians acknowledged targeting the UAE?
Well, yeah, I believe so. We read a number of the statements. It did seem like some of the waves were from Iran, right? Are you saying they've not taken credit for any of them?
I don't know. I haven't seen the Iranian government say this is what we're doing. What I do know is that when you have a high state of military, to give you an example, I was in Saudi Arabia during the Gulf War, and on the first day of the Gulf War, a Patriot battery outside of Dhahran shot down an Iraqi Scud. Shot it down. They engaged it, shot it down, and the guy got a medal for it. There was no Iraqi Scud in the air. It was a false signature. It was basically an anomaly on the radar that was targeted and fired. But we declared it to be existed. Medal was given, so therefore, the official history of the United States Army is that we shot down a Scud on the day when no Scuds were fired. And I also know that throughout the war there were false engagements. Based upon AWACS, electronic interference being misrepresented by. So when you have a situation where you have an integrated air defense system consisting of American systems that have been patched together haphazardly, because remember, a lot of these systems were destroyed during the 4-day war. The United States now brought in, Israel has come in, so now you're linking Israeli systems with UA systems, with American systems. and now they're on ultra high alert, which means they have the sensors out there looking for everything. That there's plenty of opportunity for mistakes to be made. So again, I'm not saying that Iran didn't attack. I'm saying I don't have evidence of this attack, and that history has shown that in high tension environments like this, air defense often creates enemies where no enemies exist.
Okay. Now, if we go with the situation that it was Iran, what would be the tactical reason why Iran would go for the UAE?
There's no tactical reason. There's a strategic reason.
Okay.
The strategic reason is to eliminate the United Arab Emirates as a national entity, which Iran has said will happen. If the United States or the United Arab Emirates bombs Iran, attacks Iran, the UAE will cease to exist. Iran will strike the totality of their energy production capacity, and they will take out desalination plants, and it'll make life unsustainable in this pathetic little British imperial residue. There's no love lost between me and the UAE. I've been there many times. I thought their cities were magnificent, but then I recognized the absolute corrupt nature of their regime. And the fact that they have aligned themselves with Israel shows that they've betrayed their Islamic roots and their human roots. They are supporting active genocide and a greater Israeli project, which requires Israel to steal land from fellow Arabs, fellow Muslims. So the UAE is a nation that deserves death. And Iran has promised to give them death if they participate in active military operations against Iran going forward.
When you look at the UAE, of all the Gulf states, they've been very blasé about the attacks on Iran. If you look at many of the influencers who are paid, and actually my sources tell me they're offering people $50,000 apparently per video, they continue to attack Iran, but continue to push this notion that they want kinetic warfare. What makes them distinct in this, or have they just been chosen from your perspective as kind of being so belligerent?
Because they're like Israel. They recognize that this is an existential struggle, one that if they lose, their nation could go away. There's more at play here than just UAE versus Iran. There's UAE versus Saudi Arabia, which is a problem set that exists not just in terms of behavior in the Gulf, but if you go to the Horn of Africa and into Africa itself, the UAE is desperate to be seen as a counter to Saudi Arabia, and they're failing egregiously. The UAE has been compelled to withdraw resources from Africa because of this conflict. The UAE has now alienated its relationship with Pakistan. Remember, Pakistan provides 85% of the UAE's military now, has been told to return, $3.5 billion in aid that UAE provided. Now the UAE's arrested 15,000 Pakistani civilians and going to deport them after seizing the money that they had put in UAE banks. Is this the sign of a stable government? Is this the sign of a stable society? No, it's a sign of a society in pure panic mode. And like Israel, they recognize the only path forward for sustainable survivability is kinetic warfare against Iran designed to defeat Iran. That the UAE knows that their lifestyle as it currently exists is incompatible with the continued existence of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Well, I'm completely with you on this, Scott. I don't see much difference between the UAE and Israel. If you look at their support of genocide, whether it's in Sudan, Yemen, or any of these other, Somalia, or any of these countries, they're very similar to the Israelis. The one are Muslim Zionists, one are Jewish Zionists, but these are Zionists, no doubt. And never mind, they basically fund the hatred of Muslims, they then fund the extremism. They kind of play all sides in order to make things much worse for the entire globe. And never mind the elder systems that they help support in terms of the genocide in Gaza. So totally agree with everything you're saying.